Good evening. This is the meeting that we want to talk about the capital campaign and what we're doing, and you may want to know a little bit of the history of how we got where we are. Basically, it started about a year ago when we noticed mold on the ceiling in the fellowship hall, and we knew that was a problem, so we contacted some people, and the bottom line was the mold was being caused by the moisture on the ground underneath the floor and in the basement. And we, about that time also, we discovered that we had some rotten sills and things in the basement, not the basement, but the parsonage garage. And that was something that we know we need to take care of. We have a problem with the oil tanks in the basement, and that was due to rust from the moisture. We need to replace those, which we have replaced, but we want to pay back the funds of which that came from. We also need to paint the ceiling, fix and paint the ceiling in the parsonage as a result of what the mold caused.
Fellowship Hall.
Oh, what? Fellowship Hall, I'm sorry. And all of this resulted in looking for money, bidding or whatever, looking at the projects and how much money they would cost. And the administrative board, after reviewing all of the material, decided that we really need a capital campaign to pay for this material and work. And the capital campaign is being sought to raise $125,000 to take care of these projects. And it's something that needs to be done. It's not something that we just decided, oh, we'd like to do this. These projects are important and necessary. And to give you a picture of what the extent of the problems are, particularly the basement, Peter Godfrey has some slides that would show you what the basement actually looks like and looked like. Yes, Pastor Kelly?
Just to make a note that it is a 3-year capital campaign.
Oh, yeah. Yes, this $125,000 we're trying to raise is not something we were going to come up with the money in a month. This is basically a 3-year capital campaign. We'd like to come up with the money in a month, but it is a 3-year project to raise that amount of money. So, Peter, I'll let you show some of your slides.
Okay, and on the people who are watching in, if you have any questions, please type them in, and we will just answer you verbally. These were slides that were taken by a bunch of different people, and we'll start down in the basement. And these are the heat pipes coming off the furnaces, the 2 furnaces, and they haven't been in there that long, but you can see the rust that has started due to the excessive moisture that's down there. So we're trying to eliminate that. And Rich, you have a microphone, either you or Phil, if you want to add on anything as we're going through this, okay? Please. And I'm going to wait just a second. We got a couple more people coming in. All right. This is one of the pictures of how our basement, actually how our floor in the fellowship hall is being supported, and this was probably pretty common back in the early 1900s, but a lot of stuff has shifted, and TC Halford will be installing new posts underneath there. There's another one. My house in Fairfield Street looked just like that. So, and this church was built right on top of the ground with like a 2.5-foot crawl space underneath it, and then I have no idea how far back along when they decided to put furnaces in, some brave souls got underneath there, and there's a little trap door in the kitchen. They got down underneath there and they dug a hole big enough to put oil tanks and the furnaces in there. So, but this is part of where it was not dug out, so it's just a crawl space. This picture is as you come down the stairs from the kitchen into the basement, you can see how they dug. And if you can notice, right behind the white sewer pipe, there is a barrel with a handle on it. That barrel's filled full of cement. We're not quite sure how it got in there, but you can see all of that used to be, way back along, a solid wall, but it has washed out over the years. That's just to the left of that picture, that you get that dirt wall. There are some cement walls in there. The floor is concrete, mostly. They will be installing a new, once they fix all that, they'll be putting another floor in there, another about 4 inches thick, and you can just see the sides of the new oil tanks that are in there.
And the cement floor is only in the basement section, right?
Yeah, the cement floor is only like right down, you can see that brick on the floor. It's only where they dug it out. Everything else is just dirt. And the top pipe that's rusted, those are the old steam pipes that the basement was full of, and we cut out a great majority of those and hauled them off for scrap because they were right in the way. There's another picture of a wall that is just, it's crumbling and coming down, and anytime we have heavy rainy weather, that basement gets flooded with water. And there was, the furnace room was actually enclosed with studded walls and sheetrock, and we could see the water line in the basement of about a foot and a half that we have had water in there before. And there's, as you come down the stairs and turn left, that's what the furnace room looks like, and you can see the sheetrock walls. We've removed some of the bottom of it, and there was a door there, but all of that was at several times, when we ever had bad weather, that was all covered with water. And I think the new furnaces were put in 2016. Very good, thank you. We put new ones in, hauled the old ones out, and Mark Tracy put the new ones in. So, and you can see up on the ceiling, a bunch of wires and pipes and stuff. You can still see some of the sheetrock on the ceiling. We had to pull all that off, and any place you see sheetrock here, that's now all gone. And that's just the wall these are the new tanks that are on the right-hand side. So there is a cement wall. That wall is facing the upper parking lot, but it's just flagstone right on top of that, and the water does run in. There's the ceiling that was in the furnace room, and all the black you see, that was mold. So, and it was just way worse than any of us had any idea. There's another one of the crawl spaces. We're standing in where they dug, but this is what the rest of the underneath the floor of the fellowship hall looks like. The entire floor looks just like that, and there is tons of debris in there. And again, we crawled in, we cut out as much of the old pipe as we could. There's another good picture of what they dug. I say there were some hardy souls back in those days. And this, like I say, it's about, I'm going to say maybe 2 feet, foot and a half, 2 feet that's in there.
So all the dirt that's on there was also mold, right? On the ceiling section of this? Or was it just?
I don't think so. When T.C. Hafford came, most of the mold was around the sheetrock area, and actually all the wood part, all the joists of the fellowship hall floor, they are in really good shape. They're in pretty good shape.
The beams had a lot of moisture.
The beams had a lot of moisture in it, Phil says. Yep, that's correct. Yep.
You know, when T.C. Hafford does come,
You have to turn it.
Are you on? Are you on?
yes,
Okay, go ahead.
when they come, they're going to be putting a liner under the whole
Yes, that, like I said, that pipe you see right there, that big pipe, that was an old steam pipe. That had to come out. And these are a lot of this stuff is fairly not too old piping for the furnace, but due to the moisture in the basement, it's turning all of those fittings and joints to rust. And obviously, that's not good. So when they get done in the basement with a new floor, and we'll show you what the new walls are gonna look like, because the parsonage has already had it done a few years back. And they'll have I believe two sump pumps in there, two big dehumidifiers, and that will keep the moisture content down there low enough so this stuff will not, hopefully we won't have this trouble anymore. Oh, we have a question here. We can't hear any of the people speaking. Marshall, this is you.
So my guess is
Oh.
they probably can't hear them, but they could hear you.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Okay, I will repeat everything. Yours is on, Rich, right?
But it's not coming through.
Okay, all right. Whatever anybody says, I will repeat, okay? Thank you very much.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah. There's some more of those pressure relief valves, and like I say, they're just getting rusted. This is another picture as you come down the stairs in the basement. There's the old sewer line that goes right straight down, and there's that bucket of cement. I don't know if they put that in there for some kind of support, and I think we do have another picture, but if you look right at the very top of that screen, there is a huge rock right there. And that rock is not being supported underneath by anything.
It's hanging.
It's just hanging, it's held up there by this little bit of cement and compression, and it's just an accident waiting for a place to happen. This is the very bottom of the old sewer pipe, which had to be dug out by hand because there was a joint in there that had to be, a trap in there that had to be exposed. And there it is. So it sort of looks like it was a good time to replace it anyway. Although that old cast pipe probably lasted another 100 years, yeah. And that's as you come down the stairs off the left. You can see where the plumber has done a bunch of the new piping, which had to be moved because a lot of this stuff is going to be covered up when they come in here to work. And there's that big rock. That old pipe is gone now, and there's the new pipe. And they've got the trap up, so it'll be up off the floor when they pour floor. But you can see that big pipe right behind, that big rock right behind the pipe. It's just hanging there. Over the years, all the water has run off underneath it and eroded the wall, and again, just an accident waiting for a place to happen. There's our new oil tanks. The old ones, like Richard said earlier, very, very rusted. Legs, the tank itself, the tanks were right up against the wall on the far side. Dirt had collapsed and was right up against it. These tanks are already in.
And the old ones were single wall and these are double wall?
I don't know if, I know these are double wall. I have no idea about the old ones, whether they were single or double. I don't know. And Phil's pretty sure that they were single tanks. So again, it doesn't take a whole lot of rust before, we could have had a major disaster in the basement if one of those tanks had let go. There's another, same picture as you come down the stairs, and there's the water heater, and we've put it up 8 inches on a double row of 4-inch blocks, and the new floor will come right up flush to the bottom row of blocks, so you won't be able to see that. It'll be about a 4-inch floor. Just want to show you, we did try to be careful as we were down there. A lot of dust, a lot of crap down there. And Scott got us some, the N95 masks. This is what the inside of these masks look like when we're done. They're pretty clean. These things do their job because this is what they look like on the outside. So we did try to take a lot of care in making sure that we were safe. Anybody that worked in the basement, we all had masks, and they did work well. And there's a picture of Scott. He's in the furnace room cutting out that old sheetrock ceiling and taking it out, which all that stuff had to come out because it had mold on it. And there's our buddy right here. Many a time when we climbed out of there, we were just black. So, this is a picture of the Fellowship Hall ceiling. This is when we first started to take notice that maybe there's something wrong here. The paint started peeling real bad, and it's a plaster ceiling, but we just figured, okay, it's old, it started to peel. and everything, but there were a lot of black areas on it, and we took one of the paint chips off there and sent it to Northeast Labs, and they came back, and they said, yes, indeed, it is mold, and believe it or not, there is good mold, and there is bad mold, and he said, you have the good mold, which I guess was, we have good news and bad news, so, and then they had somebody come in, and they scrubbed the entire ceiling, but to keep it from going back and getting moldy again, we had to address the water problem that we have in the basement. Okay, we have moved over to the parsonage garage. We've had ministers in there plenty of times, and Kelly noticed, as she drove her car in quite a while back, you know, this floor bounces around quite a bit. So we crawled underneath, and we noticed right in the middle of the floor, everything is rotted. And you can see that this is one of the floor joists, and they were made out of logs. A lot of them were made out of logs. And you can see the floor right above it. You can see some of the boards that are completely rotted. And the garage floor was covered with plywood. We peeled the plywood back, and there were just rotted holes. Again, an accident waiting for a place to happen. As you drive the car in the summertime when it rained, the water drips off. In the wintertime, the snow falls off it, and it melts. And all that water pooled right in the center of that floor, and it just got everything wet, and it rotted over a matter of years. So this is another major safety issue that we have to take care of. There's a lot more rot that's in the floor right on top of that log. And we got some of the old-time joists there, where we just put a bunch of boards and planks and stuff up there to hold it up the best we could for the time being. Okay, I'm just checking to see if anybody has written in any questions. This is the outside edge in the back, in the parking lot, and right halfway up, you can see that the beam, the carrying beam, is just, it was just dust. It's just, there's nothing left of it. All the water from the center of that garage floor also flowed right straight to the back, and it just sat there and it rotted. Very dangerous. And there's the garage floor itself. When we took up the plywood, that's what our pastors have been driving over, and knock on wood, we have gotten away with nobody falling through yet, but this is something that it has to be addressed. Years ago, when Pastor Effie was here, we had a mold issue in the basement. It was a dirt floor in the basement of the parsonage, and we had a mold issue, and we had this company, T.C. Hafford. They're down from Wells. They're the best in the business, and they came in, and they redid the basement in the parsonage, and this is what it looks like. You know, new floor, these walls, I call them, it's kind of like shiny white rubber, but it's almost like a canvas. It's rough on the other side, and it's very thick. And they clean all the basement, all the joists and everything, all the pipes, everything in that basement had to be cleaned of mold. And then they put these walls up, and all around the floor, you'll notice these little gray strips on the floor. Those are drains all the way around. So any water that will come in behind this white lining, go into these drains, and you'll see a blue box in the far background. That's one of the dehumidifiers. That's the dehumidifier that's in there. And right beside it in the floor, there's a sump pump, and that pumps the water out. Phil, go ahead.
That front section was all sand.
Yeah, what we're seeing here. Yes, this floor that we're seeing, it was just dirt and sand. There was no concrete there. And you know, say they put the floor in. And this basement has been great ever since. We have had zero issues with it, no matter how wet it's been outside. And the pump works great. There's another picture of it looking back. And it's amazing how clean that was. Hey, Kelly, nice job. You keep your basement nice and clean here. Yeah. There's the far corner, and this is the pump. I'll call it a sump pump for keep it simple. And as the water runs through all those little gray tracks, you can see it will go into that. And when the water gets so high, there's a float, and it pumps the water out. Right out, there's a little drain out on the front lawn of the parsonage. That round yellow thing is an alarm. We keep a 9-volt battery in it, change it every year. So in case there's an issue, we will, if the alarm will go off to tell us that, hey, the pump's not working, you know, power's out or whatever. There's the dehumidifier. They'll have 2 of these under the fellowship hall, and they'll have 2 of those sump pumps. And I think the dehumidifiers will be a little bit bigger than what he has on there. And those have filters on the top, and we change those once a year. And that is what we have for pictures. And if anybody, especially online, or anybody here has any questions, please ask, and we will answer you.
Thank you, Peter. That sounds better? Yes. Yeah, okay. I wanted to let people know where this costs of these projects, what the costs are. The basement from T.C. Hafford, to get that done and get it done the way it needs to be done, is close to $90,000. And we've also had a fair amount of plumbing work done from the plumber. We've had electrical work, so that cost is actually more than $90,000 to get that done. The parsonage garage floor is about $7,900 with our latest estimate. The fuel tanks, $7,000. The fellowship hall painting and fixing would be $4,800. And I hadn't mentioned this earlier, but our stove downstairs, one half of the stove part of it does not work. And it's a real bugger when we have turkey suppers and things like that, not having a half of a stove working. So we either need to get that fixed or get it replaced. And when we do that, we would need to put in an overhead vent over the stove, which we don't have the exact cost of that yet. But these things all come up to the need to raise the $125,000. We're doing this through the 3-year capital campaign. Most everybody, or all of you who probably are listening, either have received or will receive a letter detailing what the capital campaign is about and what it's for, similar to what we were talking about tonight. There will be a colorful pledge card in your envelope. If you're inclined to donate to the capital campaign, we'd like to see the pledge cards come in before June 15th. Doesn't mean if you forget, I hope you don't, but if you forget, we will take pledge cards anytime. But we really would like to get a feel for how we're doing with our campaign and how we will do over the next 3 years. One thing I'd mention is the T.C. Hafford work is scheduled for the 19th of June, Phil, around that time? 15? Okay. And when we have that work done, yes?
Every time somebody asks something, will you repeat what they said?
Oh,
You're
okay.
the only one that can hear.
Okay. June 15th,
All that week,
the week of June 15th.
next week, except for Thursday, which is,
Next week except for Thursday. So don't plan any meetings if you can help it. Or it's going to be something where we try to stay away from things while they're working. But when they come and do this work, the contractor, T.C. Hafford, is going to expect their money at that time. So one of the things that we're doing to ensure that we can pay them is we're working with the Methodist Foundation. I don't have the exact words for it.
It's the United Methodist Foundation of New England.
Okay. We're working with them to get a line of credit to be able to pay them, and with the idea that we have to pay them back or put the money back into that line of credit. It's just like almost like a regular loan, except that we can take the money out as we need it. But there's $90,000 that, we've taken money out of the memorial fund, which this capital campaign will do is pay that back. But we paid T.C. Hafford about, I believe, 26,000 of that. So we would need to pay T.C. Hafford 60-some odd $1,000 when this work is done in June. So it's important that we raise this money to get the jobs done that need to be done. Any questions here or out there?
I had a question for Peter.
I was going to say, I'll just repeat it.
The two humidifiers and the sump pumps.
Dehumidifiers.
Excuse me, dehumidifiers and the sump pumps. Where are they going to pump out to?
I believe they're going to go right out beside the church, between the church and the parking lot. The guy from TC Hafford come up, and he's confident that can be done so that it will drain right towards the road.
By the way, this is a little bit off the subject here, but I want to thank Peter and Phil and Scott for all the work they did down in the basement getting prepared for this project. They spent hours and hours down there, and it wouldn't look as good as it does now if it weren't for them, and T.C. Hafford wouldn't be able to do what they need to do.
And I think we still have some of the stuff they found in the basement. It was really kind of fascinating, some of the things they found down there. It was almost a time capsule kind of thing. We have not found any gold coins. No pirates have been burying treasure in our basement, sorry.
Yeah, so the capital campaign committee, again, we're just, like Richard said, we are hoping that everybody says their prayers over this and realizes that this is it's a big commitment, but it's a serious one that we need to do to, if we want to stay here and continue the work that we're doing, please give this a lot of thought and, do as your heart says. So, and again, he told us we got 3 years, and if it takes longer, we'll keep going until we get it done. But, please prayerfully consider, helping out our church, your church, my church, everybody's church here.
God's church.
Yeah, God's church, yep.
For a safe environment.
For a safe environment,
environment,
yes,
yes.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And all those online, if you have any questions, now's a good time to type them in, and we can answer you verbally. Otherwise than that, we're probably going to get done and go down and chow down on coffee and cookies here. So.
And if I remember correctly, when we make more money than we actually are trying to raise, we have been talking about some other opportunities that this church has been considering in the past. For example, the heat pumps to make it a little more comfortable is a possibility if we actually raise that kind of money. So it's not just to do this, but the first part is definitely to do this. But if we make more than that, there are things that the church could stand to have.
Good point. The thing I'd like to end with, if we don't have any other questions, is if you do come up with questions about the project itself, the work to be done, should talk to Phil or Peter. They're both, Phil is the head of trustees, and talk to one or the other about what's happening if you have questions, and I'm sure they'll be able to answer them. If you have questions about the financing part of it and the capital campaign itself, you can talk to Peter Mace or myself. We're both acting as co-chairs for the project. Well, thank you, everyone. And we're going to go down and have coffee. I'm not sure what you're going to do if you're not here.
There's plenty of cookies.
And I'm going to close this out with prayer because it's a church. I think it's important for us. Loving, gracious God, God of our foundation, we thank you for being a part of this process tonight. We thank you for supporting and building this church for all these many years. We thank you, God, because you are the one who guides us and who strengthens us. We ask that you be with us, that you guide us in our decisions on how to support the work that this church building needs. Because, God, this is your church. It is your mission and your ministry in this community. And we thank you today and every day for all that you do through this church building and through all the people who have been a part of it throughout the years. In Christ's holy name we pray. Amen.